Around 26 MPs including front and backbenchers participated in a parliamentary debate put forward by DWP MP Jim Shannon on Tuesday to discuss state pension age change compensation for millions of 1950s-born women across the UK. Representative members from all political parties were present and united in calling for urgent compensation to be made to an estimated 3.8 meters women who missed out on their state pension following two separate rises to the official age of retirement. An independent investigation by the Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman, PHSO, into changes made to the state pension age is due to conclude this year. However, Pensions Minister Paul Maynard MP could not give any indication on when that might be as he did not know. He was also unable to comment on repeated calls for full restitution for all women affected and compensation at the highest PHSO level, but he did say that the DWP is fully cooperating at every stage with the Ombudsman's investigations. Jim Shannon opened the debate by explaining, the WASPI Women Against State Pension Increase campaign, are the generation of women born in the 1950s who have been adversely affected by the changes to the state pension age in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. They argue that they were not given adequate notice of transitional arrangements to adjust to the increase in their state pension age from 60 to 65 or 66, depending on their date of birth. That is the crux of this debate. Labour MP Beth Winter highlighted how in July 2021, the PHSO's Stage 1 report found clear maladministration in the way the DWP communicated state pension age changes. She added, the DWP has still never publicly accepted that finding. The release of the final pages of the Stage 2 report will make findings about the impact of the DWP's maladministration, and the Stage 3 report will make recommendations on compensation. We have heard that both are expected in the coming weeks, and I echo colleagues' comments for the Minister to give us an update, and a specific date on which the announcement will be made. Ayrshire and Arran MP Patricia Gibson paid tribute to the WASPI women who have campaigned so very hard and with so much dignity and determination. The SNP MP continued, the UK government has a moral duty to deliver the justice that the WASPI women need and deserve, and we need that to happen urgently. For years, the women impacted have been left not just in limbo, but in financial distress and poverty, navigating what ought to have been their retirement years after a lifetime of work, stripped of their deserved dignity in retirement. It has caused untold emotional distress. For 5 long years, the WASPI women have waited for the Ombudsman's investigation to end and for its final report and adjudication to be published, during which time an estimated 260,000 women have died while waiting. That is tragic, utterly scandalous and completely indefensible. Ms. Gibson added, the rightfully compensation should be delivered promptly, it must be meaningful and reflect the hardship, distress and injustice suffered by the women, and it must take into account the significant sums wrongly withheld from them. There must be no more obfuscation, avoidance or excuses. The UK government must at long last deliver for the women. There are no more hiding places. The SNP's Chris Stevens suggested using £46 billion of unfunded tax cuts announced in last week's budget to deliver state pension compensation, saying that justice delayed is justice denied. The Glasgow South West MP said, the longer the government wait and do not address this issue, the more the price tag will go up. That is an inevitability. He added, it is almost certain that the Ombudsman will send this issue back to Parliament to say that Parliament must now decide how to resolve the issue and how to compensate. That much is certain. The government could have grasped the nettle. They could have recognized that this was coming and that it was time to address this issue. along with the issues of compensation for the infected blood and post office cases. They could have done all those things. The SNP's Joanna Cherry reminded MPs that WASPI women simply want fair and fast compensation. She said, "It is important to be clear what this debate is about, because the Department for Work and Pensions sometimes has a habit of muddying the waters. The WASPI campaigners have spoken to me, and they want me to stress that their campaign is for fair and fast compensation. They have always supported pension equalization between men and women, but their issue is the unfair way in which the changes were brought about." Labour MP John McDonnell called for a relatively simple scheme to deliver compensation, adding that he was worried the compensation levels offered by the PHSO will be trivial. He said, "A relatively simple scheme should be brought forward so that the money can get out the door very quickly. I fear there is no sense of urgency from the government, so we must create a cross-party sense of urgency. My other fear is that the Ombudsman will bring forward its final report and the compensation levels offered will be trivial, which would be unacceptable given the suffering that people have gone through. I appeal to the government to listen to HON members on both sides of this House. The government rejected and opposed our earlier scheme, and by doing so they have probably enhanced the cost of compensation now. Let us grasp the nettle. Sometimes tackling injustices can be expensive, but it is right." The SNP's Alan Brown thanked MPs for supporting his private member's bill last month, the State Pension Age Compensation Bill, which is aimed at compelling the UK government to bring forward a compensation framework for all women affected by the state pension age changes. He said, "When I presented my 10-minute rule bill, I put a number of personal testimonies on the record. I hope the minister will look at some of them, because they show what life is like for many people affected by the state pension increase." Lib Dem MP Sarah Dyke urged the UK government to commit to meeting the compensation recommendations as soon as the final report is published. Get the latest record money news. Join the conversation on our Money Saving Scotland Facebook group for energy and money saving tips, the latest benefits news, consumer help and advice on coping with the cost of living crisis. Sign up to our Record Money newsletter and get the top stories sent to your inbox daily from Monday to Friday, including a special cost of living edition on a Thursday. Sign up here. You can also follow us on X, formerly Twitter, at @recordmoney_ for regular updates throughout the day. New, get our money news alerts on your phone by joining our daily Record Money WhatsApp community. Pensions Minister Paul Maynard listened to arguments and proposals for over 80 minutes before standing to address some of the points raised. He said, "This has been a valuable and constructive debate focused on the issues of compensation for 1950s-born women affected by state pension age changes. I recognize that there is a huge strength of feeling among 1950s-born women about the increase to their state pension age and the way in which it was communicated." Addressing a publication date for the PHSO's final report, he said the Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman's investigation into state pension age communication is not complete. The date of publication is a matter for the Ombudsman. As the investigation remains ongoing, I cannot comment on it, as the Ombudsman's investigations are confidential. The privacy rules extend to all parties involved in the investigation. Join our daily Record Money WhatsApp community here to receive alerts on the latest money news from benefits to shopping deals.